Alright, it's time to talk about those. I have no idea how long this is gonna be. I did 3 attempts to get this all in under a minute, but I just couldn't. So just like your typical fantasy setting, before they wound up switching to souls as their currency inside of Lordran, the main currency was gold, silver, and copper coins, the most valued being gold, and all of them would depict Allfather Lloyd, the uncle of Gwyn, who, through the sounds of his descriptions, was some form of angel, whether he be one like the ones inside the Ring City DLC, either that or something more akin to the Dark Lurker from Dark Souls 2. Either way, Old Father Lloyd is undeniably some sort of angelic being that throughout the trilogy we never actually see what he truly looks like. But he is the head of the Way of White Covenant. And interestingly enough, aside from the copper coin you get from Petrus, which he considers an act of charity, which, I always saw as a big old fuck you because of the fact that he's giving you not only a form of invalid currency, he's giving you the lowest valued form of that currency, which, just like always tickled me the wrong way. However, the rest of the gold coins you mainly find within the bodies of mimics after you slay them. If you kill them and they drop the symbol of avarice, you're able to get a little bit more detail into the coin lore. Because in addition to them carrying the most amount of coins inside of the entirety of the game, they were described as a long lost clan and said that it was a symbol of shame that they have the appearance that they do now. And it says that once an ancient god is the one who basically imposed that on them. So it's likely that Lloyd saw them as being greedy and he punished them in the form of a chest in order to just show their greed, like how possessive they are. You like, yes, you stole from me, so we're going to live the rest of your life as a chest. Jeez, that sounds like something a Greek god would do. But anyone who's played the trilogy knows that the symbol of avarice increases not only the amount of souls you get, but also the amount of item discovery you have. And funny thing, when you get into the later Dark Souls games, because all the coins, whether copper, which does rust, silver, which doesn't rust but tarnishes, and gold, which never rusts, hence why we got ancient preserved objects from Egypt that are still pristine to this day. Yet somehow the coins manage to rust over time, but consuming these coins does increase your odds of item discovery. Strange, huh? What's likely that happened is that after so much time being inside of the stomachs of these mimics, the acid inside of it wound up stripping away the outer metal, which is likely just the gold and silver, but they had a less valuable metal on the inside that just as soon as it was stripped away and exposed began to rust itself. Which just shows that something grandiose within the world of Dark Souls really is just hiding what it is on the inside. Nothing but falsehood, a lie. And it goes even further if you look at the gold and silver serpent rings, because the way they are described is almost humiliating the player for even wearing them, having them seen as symbols of greed, as failed dragons and serpents, which may just be the creator of those rings' attempt to just put a dig in on Seath the Scaleless. Though you gotta wonder when these rings share the same property as these coins which have been soaking in the stomachs of mimics. It's also funny that in Dark Souls 3, there is a rapier that was enhanced using crystal magic, which was studied from books recovered from the Duke's archives. This thing also increases your item discovery. It's almost like everything related to Seath the Scaleless revolves around greed and selfishness. So in the end, it's my personal belief that Lloyd made a deal with Seath the Scaleless, where he took this group of individuals that he saw as thieves that have stolen from the Way of White, and they were later on converted into mimics inside of the Duke's archives, one of Seath's many experiments. And I believe that it's very likely that Lloyd made a deal with him. After all, a few golems isn't enough to get Seath the amount of victims for him to perform his experiments on. After all, what cleric wouldn't avert his gaze on a failed maiden if it meant that he got a few coins in his purse?